Well, good day, guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you saw last night's recap of the NRL Round 4, you saw that League Central Jared Finch was going to join the channel tonight. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. So we have got a special guest on this channel. He's definitely been on this channel quite a few times. He's been through some very rough times at home, as we've seen, and we've gotten behind some fundraisers, some great NRL videos coming out over on his channel and a growing fan base. It is Nick from Australia. Welcome for the round 5 tips.
Mate, thanks for having me on. A lot of good games this weekend. There are a few games that look one-sided, but, mate, you just never know what's going to happen anymore with NRL. Anything could happen. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to round 5.
Well, let's get into it. You mentioned off camera that this is the game of the round, in your opinion.
Yes.
I'll just say, because, I could potentially not, but there's about an 88%, 85% chance that I'm actually going to this game. I picked up some tickets from work, so I look to be going. I got some free tickets. It is the Newcastle Knights facing the Manly Sea Eagles. Now, the Manly Sea Eagles, they're going to be without Tom Trbojevic for 4 weeks. That's a huge loss. So, Cooler, the debutant, will be going into the fullback. Christian Tupulatu.
I've already given up on how to say his last name.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Moving into the centres for this one, Ethan Bullymore remains on the reserves. Brad Parker, who was dropped last week, also on the reserves. And obviously, we mentioned Tom Trbojevic. The only in for Newcastle Knights is Jacob Saifidi returns to the starting side. Newcastle were kept to 0 last week. I was pretty shocked by that. I expected a close game between the Sharks. They're a really good team this year, the Sharks. And look, I think Manly have been playing some better footy, but I still don't think they're playing their best footy. I think it will come later in the year, but as we say, no Tom Trbojevic, no Manly. And before this game even had Tom Trbojevic out, I had Newcastle 13+. Now, Newcastle 13+ were $7.50 on Sunday night. I'm just going to check now. They are favourites going into this game, and they're now $4. So I got an awesome price. I'm going to go with the scoreline of Newcastle to win at home, 28 points to 12. And I'm going to take an R.A. Tuala to score the first try for this game.
Yeah, look, I'm taking the Knights as well, but I reckon the Knights 1-12. I think it might be the game of the round. Manly were looking good the last 2 weeks. Turbo was playing out of his skin, getting a few Dally M points, but I think it's a massive loss. I think Newcastle can... And my phone just decides to ring. I'm just going to have to decline that. Newcastle for mine. I think they'll win this game by 6. I reckon first try scorer, Tyson Frizzell. Nice to win.
Ooh. All right, well, let's move into your boys, which is the Cowboys. An awful loss to the Roosters last week, 28 points to 4. They can put that behind them. Head to Redcliffe for this game. Not too far to travel for the old Cowboys. And then the Warriors, a nice win over the Brisbane Broncos, 20 points to 6. Now, Ben Murdoch-Marcilla and Jazz Tavaga are out for this one. The Hammer out for the Cowboys, huge loss. And I've been saying it for a few weeks now that Scott Drinkwater is due for a spot in this team. And it's going to be a great game. Jeremiah Nane has re-signed for the Cowboys, which is a fantastic signing. He's had I think he had a quieter game. He was shut down the other day, and I think that's probably why they signed him at this right time, because other clubs weren't exactly happy with the performance. But I like what I've seen from the Cowboys this year, but I also like what I've seen from the Warriors. So I can understand why this game is $1.90, but I'm going to tip New Zealand here. I'm going to tip the home side by 4. I think it'll be a very close game. It often is between these two sides. It's often high scoring as well, and I've got a few points, but not a huge amount. So, look, I think the Cowboys will score first. So I'm going to take Valentine Holmes to score the first try this match. He's making that centre position here. He's having a fantastic start to the 2022 season. He could probably clock up some Dally M points for the Cowboys this year. I'm going to take the Warriors to defeat the Cowboys, 20 points to 16 on Friday night.
I said last week that the Roosters were going to flog us, and a lot of people were laughing at me about that, and I ended up being right about it, and I was annoyed that I was right about it because it's against my bloody team. I hate backing against my team, but I am very confident that we'll win this. I think we've shown a lot more than the Warriors have the first 4 rounds. I think losing to Vugger in the middle might hurt them a little bit. Ben Murdoch-Marcilla also is another big blow. Still a question mark on Sean Johnson. I know he played last week, but apparently he's nowhere near 100%. Apparently he's just out there to do the kicking. Drinkwater at fullback. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. Cowboys, they've looked all right to start the year, and with all due respect, last week the Cowboys played a top 4 team in the Roosters. This week they're playing a team that, in my opinion, the Warriors, who are probably a team from 16 to 11 at best, in my opinion, it is a tough game to call. It is. It could be a toss the coin sort of game, but I reckon the Cowboys by 8. First try scorer, Murray Tulangi, and Jeremiah Nano will bag a try as well at some point. Cowboys by 8.
There we go. We've gone against each other for that game after getting the first game siding with each other. But we move into the 7:30 game. It's at Brisbane at Suncorp Stadium. It's the Broncos and the Roosters. Last year when the Broncos faced the Roosters, they beat them. I think it was Jake Friend's retirement game at the SCG, and the Brisbane Broncos fired up and absolutely flogged them. I remember Albert Kelly had a blinder, but Albert Kelly out for this one. Billy Waters is named in the number 6 jersey. As for the Broncos, Thomas Flegler is out, suspension. And Patrick Carrigan, it's really unfortunate to see him go down again. He's a little bit injury prone, but he's a fantastic player on his day. As for the Roosters, the same side that beat the Cowboys look to be named. I can't see any changes besides the reserves, if I'm right. Yeah, there's no changes there. Not much to be said here. I know it's at Suncorp, but I think the Roosters, they've been hot and cold, but against teams like this, they should get the job done. I'm going to go the Roosters by 16 here. I'm going to go Roosters 30, Broncos 14, and I'm going to take Nat Butcher to score the first try for this one in that back row position, left back row. And Angus Crichton often there. So I'm going to go Nat Butcher, first try scorer, Roosters 30-14.
I think this is going to be an absolute bloodbath. The Roosters will win this game, I reckon, by about 36 points. I don't give the Broncos any chance here. I have been disappointed with what the Broncos have dished out the last 2 weeks. Then they had the drama with Payne Haas and Albert Kelly. And now they've got all sorts of dramas. Everything's starting to really, fall apart up there at Red Hill. But for mine, the Roosters by about 36 points. First try scorer, I'm going to go Sam Walker. And I reckon Kevin Nagama will score a try, but just be wary. Joseph Sawali in jersey number 23. Wouldn't be surprised if he came in onto the wing for Nagama. But Roosters will win this game by 30 points.
Wow, that's a bold prediction. So you reckon Sawali could get a run here? He actually played against the Broncos last season as well. It was his debut, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he'll play because Nagama had a good game last week, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did come in late. Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, wow. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll watch this space for that one. Let's move into Saturday at 3 o'clock. This game's at Wagga Wagga. It is the Canberra Raiders up against the Melbourne Storm. Well, the Melbourne Storm, 44-0. Ryan Pappenhausen, 4 tries. I picked Kenny Bromwich for a try. I hope you got on that one. I think it was around $3.60. Fantastic price last week. Charles Nickel-Klokstad has been shocking for mine. I think he's a very good player, but I don't know what he's doing at the start of 2022. Very surprised that he's starting in the side. Now, in the number 9 jersey is Tom Starling, but Matt Frawley is in jersey number 14. I swear to God, if Ricky starts Matt Frawley over Tom Starling again, then he is a fucking idiot. Xavier Savage named as 18th man in the reserves. Tyrone Wishart named as 18th man for the Storm. And that's about it. Pretty much the same side that destroyed the Bulldogs. Just like you don't give the Broncos a chance, I don't give the Raiders a chance at all here. I think they're going to get blown off the park. I'm going to go the Storm by 26, 36 points to 10. And I reckon Remus Smith will score the first try for this game.
Well, all I can say is good luck, Canberra. They, last week, and to be honest with you, all season, they have shown absolutely nothing. They have been really hard to watch. They came against Manly last week. They were in that game, and then the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, they just faded away. The Canberra Faders are back. And the Storm last week, they just went monster mode. They were on fire. I reckon Melbourne win this game by at least 30 points. There is an injury cloud on Jerome Hughes. He did come off late in that game against the Dogs, so wouldn't be surprised if he was rested and they gave Jaden Nikorima a crack in the halves. But I don't give a crap who they throw in the halves. You could throw Ronald McDonald in there. No, he'll still do a job. Storm by 30 plus. I'm going to go Oliver score first. He hasn't even scored a try this year, which is surprising me. He'll score this week, guarantee it. And I reckon anytime, I'll take Harry Grant anytime. Storm 30 plus.
Okay. Well, let's get into the next game. It is the Rabbitohs and the Dragons. Now, guys, this game is at Accor Stadium. And if you want to be at Accor Stadium, if you can comment who will score the first try between the Sea Eagles and the Knights game, if you guess it on Thursday night, I'll put in a randomizer. I'm giving away a double pass to this game on Saturday. So, double pass to see the Dragons go up against the South Sydney Rabbitohs, the rematch of the Charity Shield, where the Dragons got the better of the Rabbits. So comment the first try for the Manly and Knights game on Thursday so that I at least have that day or two to be able to send you your tickets. But giveaway for this week. The Dragons were blown off the park by Parramatta. Some shocking changes with Tyrell Sloan being dropped, and they've done it again with Moses Mbai at fullback. You've got Andrew McCulloch in the 9, and I think with the game evolving, he's a little bit slow in that 9. I still think he's a great player, but I just don't know. Hey, and then Jack Bird's still in that number 6. As for the Rabbitohs, Mark Nichols is out. Bit of a huge loss for that side. And Sylvia Havili, who's been really good for them, has been dropped. I don't know why they've done that. But
Jackson
anyway,
Paulo's been dropped too for Josh Mansour.
Who was dropped?
Jackson Paulo's been dropped for Josh Mansour, I just noticed.
Well, there you go. Jackson Paulo's also been dropped for Josh Mansour. And as for the Dragons, I mentioned Tyrell Sloan out, Daniel Alvaro on the reserves. I hope some of these changes get made for the Dragons. I'm very close to tipping the Dragons here. Now, I know that it's absolutely outrageous, and I know that they won the Charity Shield, which means fuck all. But I think the Dragons are going to respond here, and I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. So I'm going to tip Souths by 1. I'm going to tip the Rabbitohs 19 points to 18. I think that the Dragons will fire up. I think their defense will be much better. I don't think the Dragons are a top 8 threat at all based on what we've seen this season, but I still think that they can compete in some games. I think they can compete against teams and get blown away, but there's other games where I think they can compete and just fall short. This is one of those games that I think the Rabbitohs have made some huge changes, some huge outs that are going to mix up the players as well, which I almost want to tip the Dragons because if I'm right about this, it'll be so good to claim it, but I'm going to go Rabbits 19-18, Cody Walker to score the first try of this game.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. I think it will be a really close game. I reckon 1-12 for sure. Dragons mentally will be in the Rabbitohs' head from the Charity Shield. You don't forget those things. You don't just go, oh, Charity Shield, who cares? They remember. They really do remember these early in the season games. I think the Dragons will be in this. I backed them last week against the Eels, and what a mistake that was. I think the Rabbitohs by 10. I think it'll be close. I reckon Alex Johnson will score first. I don't mind off the bench. This Davey Mowell kid. I reckon off the bench he's going to score. I don't mind him for a try. I reckon he could come on and make an impact. But Rabbitohs by 10. Dragons will be in it. I don't like Mbai at fullback. Last week I hated it. Bird at 5'8" isn't too bad as well, but they got to make some changes and get this thing sorted. But Rabbitohs by 10 for mine.
Well, let me just say this. If this fucking game goes to Golden Point, as I haven't predicted it going to Golden Point, but I've done Rabbits by 1. I had tickets to this game. I also had tickets to Melbourne versus Parramatta. So the curse continues if it does happen. But let's move into the next game, and I will be at this game. It is the Gold Coast Titans and the Parramatta Eels. I will be arriving at the Gold Coast extremely late. I reckon 20 minutes before kickoff on Saturday night. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a trip up to the Gold Coast. Obviously, the Gold Coast, a very disappointing performance, but still a victory in a shit game of football. I asked Greg Alexander if he'd prefer to watch that game again or grass grow, and his reply was, we both fucking know the answer to that. So leave that one as you will on Sunday afternoon. But Parramatta, a nice win over the Dragons, but can they maintain that consistency? The thing about Parramatta for me is normally we struggle against those lower sides after beating top sides. We didn't do that. So things are looking good for the old Eels, but let's have a look at the sides. As for the Titans, Brian Kelly and Eason Masters is out, and that means that Philip Sami and Patrick Herbert in the centres, Greg Marzou on the wing, Toby Sexton and AJ Brimson still in the halves for that one. As for Parramatta Eels, I'm a little bit annoyed with this decision. Bryce Cartwright has been named the 18th man. He had a blinder, threw a great flick pass, try assist. Mitch Rain making his Eels debut against his old club in jersey number 17. I like our bench, but I definitely think Bryce Cartwright should be there over Mitch Rain. I know you want to put him up against his old club, but Anyway, I'm going to go the Eels 13 plus here. I still think it'll be tighter than some people will think. I know some people will tip Para by 30, 40 based on last week, but I'm going to go Eels by 14, close game. Eels 30, Titans 16, and I think Wanga Blake will score the first try of this game.
The Titans last week were very lucky to beat the West Tigers, and the Eels last week were very dominant against the hopeless Dragons. I like the Eels here by 12, and I just got to say, the form of Mitchell Moses right now was unbelievable. Dare I say it, Mitchell Moses is the best player in the world at the moment. He is unbelievable. He is playing out of this world at the moment. I'm taking Moses over any NRL player at the moment, at this minute. Titans will be better this week. They'll score points this week. They'll be a lot better than what they had been. And obviously, round one, the Titans fell short against the Eels down there at CommBank. But I'm going Parramatta by 12. I'm going to go first try scorer, Mitchell Moses. Anytime by scorer. I'm going to go with, I'm going to go very bold here. Junior Paulo will score against the Titans.
I like it. I have a weird feeling about Junior myself, but I didn't back it in. But hopefully we get a good win on Saturday night for an away game for me. Well, let's move into the next game, which seems like an absolute bludger. It's the Cronulla Sharks up against the West Tigers. As for the Sharks, Luke Metcalf, it says he's out, but I don't think he even played last week. I think he was just
out of the reserves, I'd say.
He was on the reserves. But anyway, and then as for West Tigers, they pretty much look unchanged, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much the same tide has been named that lost to the Gold Coast Titans. I think the Tigers are going to shock people here. I don't think they're going to win this game at all. There's no fucking way I'm going to tip them. But I reckon they're going to keep it 1-12. So the Tigers at the line of 18.5, I absolutely love it. The Tigers haven't been losing games by huge margins besides that Newcastle game. They competed with the Storm. They competed with, who else?
Storm in round one.
Storm in round one, Titans last week. Who was round
Newcastle.
3?
Newcastle was round 2. Round 3, I'll tell you. Warriors, they lost by 4, remember?
There you go. The Warriors, they competed with them as well in a losing effort. So I'm going to go the Sharks 24-12 here. I reckon that the Tigers have to put in a much better performance. They're closer to a win. I don't think they can win at all, but I think they can keep it tight. And I reckon Will Kennedy will score the first try this game at the back. So Sharks by 12.
Well, I did my live tips about half an hour ago before I came on in to do it with you, Hayden, and I said the Tigers will be a massive chance here, but I can't tip them. I think the Sharks will win, but I reckon Sharks by 14. I think Tigers will be in this. Dare I say it, Tigers might even lead at halftime, but they'll get run over. And I'm telling you, Sharks will win by 14. Big Sia for Talakai is going to score first. He's up against James Roberts. James Roberts, get them shoulders ready, mate. Good luck. Dane Gagai couldn't stop him last week. I don't know how James Roberts is going to be able to slow him down. Good luck. Talakai is going to score first. And I reckon Hamlin Ueli will bag a try as well. I love that big Hamlin Ueli. He's a beast. Sharks to win by 14.
Well, let's move into the final game of the round now. Once again, I have tickets. Pardon?
The Matt Burton Cup.
The Matt Burton Cup. Now, if this game goes to Golden Point, once again, I have a ticket to it. I was meant to be there, but I will be at the flying back from the Gold Coast at this time. It's the Bulldogs up against the Panthers. Their fullback, Matt Duffy. I thought he had a blinder against the Storm last week. I thought Matt Duffy in a losing effort was absolutely outstanding. So looking for another big game from him to back it up. Luke Thompson was great as well for the Dogs. Some shining lights from that side. Kyle Flanagan. There he is in the number 7 jersey. He has been named with Matt Burton in the 6. So Jake Averillo looks to be out of the side. There you go. Been waiting for that one for a while. Sean O'Sullivan has not been named off the bench. Instead, Jamin Salmon has. So he'll be very disappointed with that one. Sorensen, Linu, and Kenny make up the bench for the Penrith Panthers, who welcome back Nathan Cleary with a grand final rematch win last week. Look, Bulldogs couldn't score points on the weekend. They shouldn't be able to against the Panthers. For some reason, I think they will, though. For some reason, I think the Dogs will score a few points here. I think Penrith will be too good. I'm going to go Penrith by 18. I'm going to go Penrith to win 34 points to 16. I think Jerome Luai will score the first try for this game. I reckon Jerome Luai will score a try during this game. So, yeah, I think the Panthers will be too good, but I think the Bulldogs can have a game where they score some points because they haven't been doing much of that lately. They're looking shit.
I find it ridiculous how the Bulldogs play Kyle Flanagan against the bloody Panthers, where he could have had him against a team that's a bit lower tier than the Panthers.
Like the Cowboys.
I just don't understand why you'd play Flanagan now, but you wouldn't play him last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever. I don't quite understand that, but I'm glad he's playing. I really am. The Bulldogs, new year, couple of new players, same old shit. The Bulldogs won't even score more than 8 points here. I reckon the Panthers win this, and I reckon they win this game really well. I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm going to say the Panthers will score 50 this weekend. They will be the first team in 2022 to score 50 points. I reckon the Panthers will win 52 points to 6. First try scorer, Nathan Cleary. Anytime try scorer, Isaiah Yeo will get a try, I reckon. Paul Rabbitohs and Matt Burton, they must be regretting going to this shithole at the Dogs. Trent Barrett, I don't know what he's doing down there, but things just clearly aren't working. And last week against the Storm, far out. If it wasn't a Sunday afternoon game, I might have fell asleep watching this. It was a bludger of a game to watch. Panthers by a lot. 48
Panthers
plus.
by a lot. All right, well, that's our tips around, guys. Let's get into some bets. So first, I'll give you my multi, and then I'll give you 2 try scorers. Now, make sure you follow my Instagram at The Entertain House. I've been putting up some wild tips on there. And look, I think we've got a 7-2 record this season, so it's absolutely outrageous. So my multi for this week is going to be the Tigers at the line, which is 18.5. That line's too big. Sharks will not win by more than 20. Which is what you've got that line as. The Newcastle Knights minus 1.5. I think it's a bit risky. I think Manly's in with a chance, but I've taken Newcastle 13 plus. So for the Knights to win by 2 or more, I'm going to take that. And then the Melbourne Storm to win 13 plus against a struggling Raiders side. It's just $6.89 for that multi. So I think it's a pretty good price for the weekend. And my 2 try scorers, I reckon, speaking of 2, I reckon Anare Tuala might score a double. And that's paying $9. And my best try scorer for the week, I'm going to go Jerome Luai at $4 for the Penrith Panthers against the Bulldogs. $4 is way too big.
I've got 2 multis for you this weekend. This is the Nick from Australia lock of the weekend. Is what I'm calling it. The NFA lock. 4 anytime try scorers this weekend. Murray Tulangi will score anytime against the Warriors. Sam Walker will score anytime against the Broncos. Xavier Coates will bag a try on the wing for the Storm against Canberra. And Big Sia Fatalikai will bag a try against the Tigers. That's paying $31. So you chuck $10 from that, you win $3.10. It's a very nice little bet. Just 4 try scorers there for you. And my multi for the weekend, which I like this a lot. I might throw $20 on this. It's the Cowboys 1-12. Roosters and the Storm to win 13 plus, and the Eels 1-12. Eels 1-12 is my bet of the round. It's my specials of the weekend. So Cows 1-12, Roosters and Storm 13 plus, Eels 1-12. That'll get you $33. So got to spend $10 laying around in your room. Throw it on it. $333 return. That's my 2 best bets of the round.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining the channel once again for the NRL tips for this round. Where can we find you, Nick?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, getting closer to 2K. The grind continues, even though I currently don't have a friggin' house. I'm just staying at my cousin's house at the moment, and the grind continues regardless of where I am. I don't care if I'm living in a friggin' pond down the road. I don't care if I'm living in a museum. The grind continues. YouTube continues regardless of where I am.
There we go, guys. Make sure you check out Nick's channel. Subscribe to this channel if you are new. Comment your tips below. And as I said, who's going to be the first try scorer in that Manly Knights game if you want to bag yourself a double pass? Obviously, if you live in fucking South Australia or something, don't comment, because we want it to go to someone who can attend the game on Saturday, some footy. I'm looking at doing a vlog for the Knights and Manly game potentially, and then Eels Titans on Saturday. But that's going to be it for this video. Those were our tips.